Hi, this is Miss Borbin. Today we're going to talk about changing improper fractions to mixed numbers. So let's do some definitions first. An improper fraction is a fraction that equals more than 1. Mixed numbers are a whole number with a fraction. And hopefully when you've been studying fractions, you already know that any fraction with the same numerator and denominator is equal to 1. So the same number on the top and the bottom of the fraction. Numerators on the top, denominators on the bottom. So when you're talking about improper fractions, you can have an example like 3/2. So 2/2 would be equal to 1. It's an improper fraction, and that's not what they call it, fractions more than 1 most of the time, but kind of old school, so I still call it an improper fraction. But 3/2 is more than 2/2, so it's more than 1. Mixed number, like 2 3/4, you have the whole number 2 and the fraction 3/4. And then if you have the same numerator and denominator, the same number on the top and the bottom of the fraction, like 2/2 or 100 hundredths or 1,000,000 millionths, anytime you have the same number on the top and the bottom, you have a fraction that's equal to 1. So now let's talk about how you change those improper fractions to a mixed number. So you have an improper fraction like 3/2. You want to make it into a mixed number. You have to remember that a fraction is just like a little tiny division problem. I actually think the fraction kind of looks like a division problem if you think about it. If you look at a division sign, you have that line in the middle, and then you have something on the top, something on the bottom, just like a fraction. So you can take any fraction, even a proper fraction like 1/2. If you divide it, you get a decimal. In this case, we have 3/2. It's worth more than 1. We're going to divide 3 divided by 2. Do a little division problem, very simple. We get 1 with 1 left over, and that remainder, that leftover 1, is how many halves are left over. So 3/2 is 1 whole plus 1 more half, because 2/2 is 1 whole. So the 3/2 is 1 whole plus 1 more half. And you can find that easily with a simple division problem. All right. So we're going to do another example. There's your 3/2, and 1 is 1 1/2. Second example I'm going to give you, it's going to be 19/4. Again, I'm going to do a little division problem. I'm going to take 19 and I'm going to divide it by 4. So I do my pretty simple math. If you know your math facts and you know your multiplication facts, then this is a pretty simple division problem. So 4 and 19 4 times. I subtract my 16 there. And I have 3 left over. So the whole number is 4, because there's 4 wholes in 19/4. And then there's 3/4 left over. So 19/4 is equal to 4 and 3/4. So if you need to change an improper fraction to a mixed number, you're just going to take your improper fraction, like 19/4. Anytime there's a higher numerator than denominator, it's an improper fraction. Do your little division problem, and you'll end up with a whole number, and then your leftovers is how many of that fraction are left over. That's your remainder.